What if the reason some people over 65 quietly command attention has nothing to do with how they look, how much they talk, or how confident they seem? What if the most magnetic seniors you've ever met aren't trying to impress anyone at all, and that's exactly why people lean in when they enter a room? There's a missing explanation here, one that most aging advice never addresses, because the qualities that make seniors charismatic aren't taught, advertised, or even named. They develop slowly, invisibly, and by the time most people notice them, it feels like magic. But it isn't. It's a pattern, and once you see it, you start noticing the clues everywhere. For decades, American culture equated charisma with youth, beauty, and high energy. But in the early 2000s, researchers studying social influence and aging began reporting something unexpected. Data from the National Social Life, Health, and Aging Project showed that adults over 65 often rated their peers as more engaging and trustworthy than younger adults, even when physical health declined. At the same time, neuroscientists studying emotional regulation noticed that older adults showed stronger control over emotional reactions. These findings didn't fit the old narrative. Something deeper was happening beneath the surface. To understand where this charisma really comes from, you have to go back to early adulthood. In their 20s and 30s, most Americans are rewarded for speed, productivity, and self-promotion. According to U.S. labor and time use surveys, young adults spend the majority of their waking hours multitasking and self-monitoring. This environment trains people to perform rather than connect. But a small group does something different without realizing it. They listen a little longer, they react a little slower. They don't rush to fill silence. At the time, this might even feel like a disadvantage. But this is where the first uncommon quality begins forming: attentive presence. It doesn't look impressive early on, but decades later, it becomes magnetic. Then the 40s arrive, and changes start quietly. This decade brings peak stress, divided attention, and emotional overload. According to the American Psychological Association, stress levels in Americans spike most sharply between ages 40 and 49. Many people respond by becoming more guarded, more reactive, more impatient. But others adapt differently. They simplify. They choose fewer battles. They begin conserving emotional energy. This is when the second uncommon quality develops: emotional economy, the ability to respond without overreacting. It's subtle, but people around them feel calmer in their presence, even if they can't explain why. After 65, a major shift occurs that most people completely ignore. Neurological research from the National Institute on Aging shows that emotional processing changes with age. Negative stimuli lose intensity, while meaningful interactions gain importance. In other words, older adults naturally become more selective about what they care about. For some, this turns into withdrawal, but for charismatic seniors, it becomes the third uncommon quality: selective engagement. They speak less, but when they do, it matters. They don't chase attention, which paradoxically makes others seek it from them. The breaking point often comes around retirement, illness, or loss. This is when the problem becomes visible. Many people lose roles that once defined them: career, caregiving, status. According to the Health and Retirement Study, role loss is one of the strongest predictors of depression after 65. This is where charisma either collapses or crystallizes. Seniors who tied their identity to external roles often feel invisible. But those who built an internal anchor develop the fourth uncommon quality: grounded identity. They don't need to prove who they are. That quiet certainty reads as strength, and people instinctively trust it. The fallout of missing these qualities can be profound. Social isolation increases, confidence drops, health suffers. The CDC reports that social disconnection raises mortality risk comparable to smoking. Financially, isolation can lead to poor decision-making and vulnerability. Lifestyle shrinks. Meanwhile, across millions of seniors, the same pattern repeats. Those with strong social presence maintain better health, stronger networks, and greater independence even without superior physical condition. So, what are the remaining uncommon qualities that complete the picture? The fifth is conversational restraint. Charismatic seniors don't dominate conversations or overshare. Research in social psychology shows that people feel more positively toward those who allow space. The sixth is embodied calm. Slower movements, steady posture, relaxed breathing. These signals are interpreted by the human brain as safety and authority. The seventh is value consistency. Over decades, charismatic seniors align actions with values so closely that others sense integrity without being told. Most seniors try failed fixes because of old advice. They're told to be more outgoing, stay busy, or put yourself out there. These strategies often backfire. Forced extroversion creates exhaustion. Constant activity masks presence. Trying to impress dilutes authenticity. Studies show that perceived charisma drops when behavior feels performative rather than grounded. What matters today is that these qualities are not personality traits you're born with. They are adaptive responses built over time, and they can still be strengthened after 60. American aging surveys show that seniors who intentionally slow interactions, deepen listening, and reduce emotional reactivity improve social satisfaction within months. So what can you do starting today? First, practice intentional pauses in conversation. Let silence do some of the work. This strengthens attentive presence. Second, reduce one emotional overcommitment this week, one obligation that drains you. Emotional economy grows through subtraction. Third, align one daily action with a core value you care about. Consistency builds grounded identity faster than self-reflection alone. Here's the warning. Based on evidence, trying to manufacture charisma through techniques or scripts often increases social fatigue and reduces authenticity. Charisma grows from regulation, not performance. And here's the thought to sit with until the next video. If the most powerful form of influence becomes quieter with age, what might you be gaining right now that no one ever taught you to recognize? If you want the next chapter where we explore how these qualities protect seniors from loneliness and decline, subscribe and turn on notifications. What comes next may change how you see aging entirely.